Okay, before I go ahead, I want to tell you right now that this game is seriously awesome. I've had so much fun playing it, and if you like this game, then it's pretty obvious that you're going to like this one too. Why am I telling you this at the beginning of a video review? Well, I'm a massive fan of South Park, or pretty much anything Matt and Trey do in all honesty, and if I was sitting where you guys are, I wouldn't want one thing spoiled. I'm going to try and make this review as spoiler free as possible, but with a game that has this many controversial topics or jokes, most of which actually exist due to the gameplay mechanics themselves, there's no real way I can talk about South Park: The Fractured But Whole without at least bringing up something. So, if you want to continue, let's continue. South Park: The Stick of Truth was a great game. In fact, it was probably one of my favourite games of 2014, and even though I'm not a fan of a lot of the shows it was referencing, I still played it to the end and thoroughly enjoyed it. Thankfully, fans of that original game, which I can assume is pretty much all of you, will be pleased to hear that this game starts right where that game left off. Now, you can obviously jump straight into this one if you really want to, but in my opinion you're doing yourself an injustice by not playing the original first. In that one, it was all Game of Thrones-like, and in this one, Cartman decides he wants to play superheroes now instead to save a missing cat and get $100 to start his superhero franchise and become a billionaire. So now you're playing that make-believe game instead. Obviously the whole thing is ripping on movies found in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, most notably the amazing Civil War, as well as plenty of other superhero movies, and it does it splendidly. And, as I'm such a big fan of these movies, for me, it's a match made in heaven. Anyway, the serious nature of Cartman, aka the Coon, constantly being interrupted by his mum and breaking the illusion and winding him up is just fantastic. When you get into battles against your arch enemies outside, expect the action to suddenly stop as you move off the road and let a passing car drive by.
You can't stop the car! Car!
Stay out of the street, damn kids!
Clear!
Before the music dramatically starts up again and you continue your epic journey.
As I was saying, you can't stop the king, he is all powerful!
And when I say your epic journey, I seriously mean your epic journey. In the first game you had a few different classes to choose from, but this game has so many different choices. Straight away you customise your character, albeit with a fairly limited list of headgear, tops, hair, gloves, face masks and tattoos, etc. which you can obviously change throughout the game, as you discover an insane amount of different outfits for you to wear scattered all over the place. Now after you choose your character's outfits, that's when you quickly see the first instance of South Park doing what they usually do of pushing the boundaries and raising a few eyebrows. All before the game has even properly started. The darker your skin colour, the harder the game is. This sort of "oh no they didn't" mentality continues throughout the game as the cops on several side missions ask you to take down particular criminals, only to find out that it's you breaking into random black guys' houses who are obviously completely caught off guard as they go about their everyday life and you end up fighting them. Were they doing anything wrong? Well, not that you could see at least. It's just South Park's way of poking fun at serious problems that have popped up in the news. Or what about the fact that once you've reached a certain point in the game, you can choose not only your gender, but your sexual preference too. And I'm not talking about male, female, straight or gay. I'm talking, are you heterosexual, bisexual, polysexual, pansexual, asexual, androsexual, all the other sexuals that I had never heard of before. Heck, you can even change your sexual preference throughout the game, at any time you like once you get to this stage. Now, is this South Park's way of making fun of people that have identified as a gender or sexuality that perhaps needs to be explained to others? Probably. But Matt and Trey's fantastic writing shines through once again as they level the playing ground when your character leaves Mr. Mackey's office as, I don't know, a gynosexual gender fluid person.
Okay, so, well, since you don't identify as binary gender, okay, being sexually attracted to folks that identify as or present as females means that you can be referred to what's referred to as gynosexual.
when you're met by a bunch of single-minded drunken rednecks that see your gender or sexuality as a threat to America, and before you know it, you get to beat the crap out of them. In other words, somehow, after 281 episodes, one fantastic movie and an absolutely legendary game, as well as all the other batshit crazy projects that these guys do, Matt and Trey can still not only shock you, but do it in a way that no other show can. It is pure perfection, and this video game is basically proving that they are far from running out of ways to continue doing it. Apart from your gender, sexuality and skin colour difficulty settings, there are still so many other aspects in the game that you can tailor to your character that changes up the way certain cutscenes are played out, and how certain characters talk to you throughout the game. It's going to make you instantly want to play it all again, but in a different way. Like for instance, the abilities you choose for your superhero can be merged with other superhero abilities, giving you a crazy amount of different directions to take the story, and best of all, whatever you choose, good old Cartman will explain how you can use the abilities in flashback scenarios where you learn your new movesets whilst watching what is essentially your character's made up on the spot origin story. These are just a few of the many different tailor-made aspects of the game. And when the game finally does come out tomorrow, I'll be very excited to watch other people play it and see what path they decide to take. Now that's all the good, but what about the bad? Well, for any fans of my channel, you'll know I'm not really into RPGs, but for whatever reason, probably due to me being such a big fan of the show, I really enjoyed both of these games. However, if you want a big beefy RPG, then this might not be for you. Also, the last game got it down perfectly, so the jump between the last game and this one, well, there really isn't one. The new battle system, honestly, at first was a bit too repetitive, but thankfully, the more I played it, the more players I got to choose from and the more variety became available to me. However, what I will say is that I quickly found out a tactic and stuck with it, and hardly ever lost a fight in the hundreds I no doubt had. If you're a big RPG person and you fancy a better challenging game, then I suggest you slap up the difficulty a little, which I know I'll be doing on my second playthrough. The original game had a teeny tiny bit of loading, and sadly it still exists here. Well, in the Xbox One version at least, but honestly it lasts literally 1 or 2 seconds, I don't know, maybe 4 an absolute push. Look, I'm just trying to do that typical reviewer thing and point out negatives in a brilliant game. Honestly, it's just so hard to find something bad about it, and if you're a fan of the first game or the show, like I said, you will seriously not care about the tiny little hiccups that you barely ever find along the way, because South Park: The Fractured But Whole is literally a perfect game. Well, for someone like me, that is. Hey there guys, thanks for checking out the South Park review. It's the part of the video where I do my usual Patreon shout outs, with a special shout out going to
my brother, Rollins, I shot them, put bros, I'm a band, Gavin, Viz, Kiwi, Effin, Giant, Gavin, SGR, Pits, Hedgie, Ben Hall, Jay, Tiago, Pera, Sandro Silva.
If you want to be part of the Patreon list, get your name shouted out, get your name shown, see videos before they're released, as well as joining the Slopes Game Room Discord chat, then click the link that you see on the screen. Don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, thumbs down, put it on social media, especially Reddit. Thank you so much, people that keep doing that. But for now, this is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time.